I would stand up.
You would stand up and say that's going to happen. Yeah. Hey, welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. So normally when we have guests, we give them T-shirts. That's about all we have, right. I think. And that's all we have is T-shirts.
And a firm handshake.
And we're going to give you T-shirts.
We have them down here. They're right there.
Matt Kaulig comes in here, and he's handing out hats. Yes. He's handing out koozies. Yeah. And most importantly,
donuts.
Let's get rid of the smell. The man brought us food.
Like, open that up, Jay.
Wow, this is from Becker's, too. So,
oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pass this box around. Can we get a shot of this?
Oh, yeah.
This is how Matt Kaulig rolls.
Right.
First class everything.
You are welcome every day I'm here.
I'm going to go with that one right there,
Jay, you
bro.
stalling. Stop stalling
I know,
on
I
these.
can't stall.
Is this
Matt, it's great to see you, man.
Man, it is so good to be here. I love talking sports. Here you go.
You don't want one?
I don't want one. I already had 3.
How do you think he keeps that girlish figure?
Yeah, right. And no, it's just awesome to be on the show and hang out with you guys, and it's cool to be here.
You played quarterback at Akron, didn't you?
Played University of Akron, yep. Played 91 to 95, so with Coach Faust.
Wow.
So
Jerry Faust.
I grew up in Cincinnati and then went to high school in Chicago, in Chicagoland, at a place called Crystal Lake South, and then came to the University of Akron and played for the Zips. Played at the old Rubber Bowl.
I'm a Bobcat.
Right.
Did you guys ever go to the Rubber Bowl?
Absolutely. The old Rubber Bowl.
I went to OU, and we played there. And now that old Rubber Bowl with the huge crown, oh, goodness. That was the first AstroTurf.
So let me tell you a quick story. So I think in '94, we were, we had some tough times. So it was Coach Faust's last year. And we went into the last game. We were 0-10. That's back when we played 11 games. Mm-hmm. We were 0-10. We played Ohio U, who was also 0-10.
Oh, no.
So it was the first time in, I think, NCAA history that both teams were 0-10 going into the last game. And so ESPN dubbed it the Toilet Bowl.
Boy.
And so it was the Toilet Bowl. We played the Toilet Bowl.
I hope you tied.
We actually won.
Yeah.
So we ended up being 1-10. Ohio U was 0-11 that year. But
sorry, big fella. Sorry, big fella.
It's all right.
So your love of sport, I mean, it's not just football either. I've talked all sports with you, and your knowledge on all the sports go deep.
Yeah.
But I was fascinated a couple of years ago. I didn't know that you were a NASCAR guy. You just decided, hey, let's start a couple of NASCAR teams. How has that gone for you?
Well, it's gone unbelievably well. So I think back in 2000, you guys know I had Leaf Filter. I started a company,
right?
Out of my house back in 2005, and have grown it. We've got 150 offices in the U.S. and Canada, and so got into NASCAR as a sponsor. So back in 2014, just started sponsoring cars and got into it that way.
How did that happen? Someone just approached you about a sponsorship?
Literally, somebody approached me about sponsorship.
What did you know about NASCAR?
Actually, my dad had been involved, and his company was a sponsor back, even when I was a kid.
Right.
So more so in Indy cars. He worked for a brake parts company called Rebestos Brakes.
Yeah.
And so he worked in marketing for that company. And so we would go to IndyCar. We went to Indianapolis every year for the 500 in Indy cars. And so just was trying to expand Leaf Filter and, was on a car. And then we had fun with it. And I kind of got the bug as far as employee involvement and everything else. And being I'm crazy entrepreneurial and, like I said, love sports, and got to know some of the other owners in the sport. And said, hey, how do we win? How do we go faster? What do we need to do? And so I literally just started my own team. And,
wow.
And
that's not easy to do.
No,
you make it
not
sound
easy
like,
to do.
So I did it.
And so especially even in the Cup Series, you could do it. Like you can't just create a baseball team. Like if we said, I know we own part of the Guardians now, but if we all just wanted to start a Major League Baseball team, you can't. You got to buy a franchise.
Right. There's 30 of them, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's just the way it is. NASCAR's a little bit different, where in the lower series, like the Xfinity Series or the Truck Series, you can really just start a team. Now you've got to align with some of the other teams, or you've got to you need to know who the manufacturer is. You have to run a Chevy or a Ford or a Toyota, but we were able to figure that out. So back in 2016, aligned with Richard Childress Racing, and got Chevy.
Stealing our donuts.
Where's our donuts, dude?
They're about to eat them.
They're salivating behind the glass, Matt.
So what car are you aligned with here?
Well, so we are aligned with Richard Childress Racing, but that was more for engineering and support in the beginning. So and so now we have, I bought 2 charters, they call it. That's what NASCAR is. That's what franchises are.
Okay.
There's 36 basically franchises in NASCAR. So I own 2 of them.
Okay.
Wow.
And so now we have 2 full-time cars in the Cup Series,
Which
race
is
on
the major
Sundays.
leagues. That's the big
That's
boys.
the big boy. And then we
And
have
that costs
3
at least $100 a year, doesn't it?
At
$100?
least $100.
Yeah. It's not cheap, kids. You have no idea how expensive this is.
I'm over here like, hey, Jay. Jay tells me all the expensive stuff. I just ask him, how much that cost?
What is Jordan's
You
team?
ain't getting that.
What team does Jordan have?
It's a Kaulig Racing. Yeah.
So yours is
So we
Kaulig,
have
right.
Justin Haley in the 31 car, and then we share the 16. Actually, we just had what we call Fan Day down in at our race shop yesterday. It was just yesterday down in North Carolina, and we announced that AJ Allmendinger is going to run full time.
Oh, wow.
In the Cup next year.
Very good.
So we'll have AJ Allmendinger and
He's
Justin
a very
Haley.
accomplished driver.
Very awesome. And we just won Saturday. We just won at Talladega, on Saturday. So AJ's won 4 times this year. He won the regular season championship in the Xfinity Series. So we're in the playoffs now in NASCAR, and we're doing great.
Tell us about that rock on your finger there.
So this is from where's the camera? This is from Daytona. Back, I think in 2018, that's our very first win in NASCAR. So
It's a nice place to get your first win.
Ross Chastain won. We actually finished 1, 2, 3 that day.
Oh, wow.
And it was super awesome. So they gave us these rings.
First, second, and third.
First, second, and third.
Yeah.
So our very first win in NASCAR, we absolutely dominated Daytona.
That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a really surreal moment and fun day. But yeah, they gave us these rings, so I'm like, yeah, I'll wear that thing every day.
Hell yeah.
So I literally wear this thing every day.
I would too.
And so when I fist bump people,
Boom. See, now I'm asking. I gotta bring my rings in. Like they like, listen, yeah, I need a couple of those.
Yeah.
You are are you based in North Carolina? Is that where the shop is?
That's right.
When I lived in North Carolina 2 years,
Yeah.
and racing is like unbelievable. It's
like football
God.
here.
Yeah.
People will be outside. Now, how are you trying to kind of move that and kind of grow that in other different places where you're at?
Well, we're doing, I have business and I have businesses. I have a bunch of businesses. So sponsorship is a really big part of NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just trying to take over. I mean, somebody has to win. Somebody has to do it. That's what we say about the Guardians and the Browns. And somebody's going to win the Super Bowl, right? Somebody's going to win the World Series. Somebody's going to win NASCAR championships. So, we've been blessed business-wise that we're able to do it. And again, for all of these sports teams and franchises, you have to have money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even to own the things, you have to have money. You got to start there. So we've been fortunate enough to have some money and now be able to go win and accomplish what we're trying to accomplish.
That world is, it's not so much now, but it used to be incredibly cliquey. There were 2 or 3 big names that had the teams and the chance and the opportunities, and they always won everything.
Yeah.
And
It's still that way.
it is that way. However, I know that they had to be sitting in a room going, wait, who's this Matt Kaulig fella?
Yeah.
And where is this guy coming from? But that didn't intimidate you or slow you. That just made you more determined to go get what they have.
Yeah, and there's, you're right, Jay. These guys have been doing it. Most of these guys have been doing it for 50 years. I said
Some of the
we're
multi-generations.
Yeah, I mean, 50. I think Richard Childress has been doing it for 50 some years. Roger Penske.
Yeah.
I think he's in his 80s.
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs, has been doing it for years. I mean, and again, I don't mean to say that they're getting old, but they're Richard Petty has been doing it for, I don't know, 60 years.
It's time
70
for
years.
someone to replace
So
that guard.
There's going to be replacement, and so we're one of those younger generation teams. You've got Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan.
Right. Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
at
yeah.
23-11.
Yeah.
You've got Justin Marks, who's a younger guy than I am. That has a team. He's with Pitbull.
Mm-hmm.
So Pitbull and Justin Marks,
Wow.
are making their mark in the series. So we're trying to be that next generation. We have a next generation car, but I'm trying to be that next generation owner that is going to take over. So,
but I have to believe that your sports background is helpful to you because when you talk about playing in the toilet bowl, you got to know what it's like to be on the field, right?
Yeah.
And you got to know what it's like to have to be able to be in a position to actually win and want to win.
That's right.
So I gotta feel like that helps you in that sport.
You know, I think it definitely helps in that sport, and I come at it from a different angle than these guys in NASCAR that are car guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not a car guy. I didn't grow up in racing in the sport, and so I come at it from a business perspective and even from a football perspective. You know, I played quarterback, and I think that's been it's the leadership that was created. I think that you have to be able to lead on the field. I mean, you have a huddle, and that you're in charge of the huddle as a quarterback. And I think the lessons that I learned on the football field and as a leader and the quarterback has really helped in business, and then really helps, run a race team, because you can lead and teach these other, the crew chiefs and, how to be leaders and how to translate what you learn from football into racing. Racing's an unbelievable team sport. I mean, it's, you're racing a car, but you have one driver that's in there and he's racing, but all the teamwork that goes into it is just, it's almost undescribable,
Let me ask you this, because we had an interesting discussion earlier.
Yeah.
From your perspective, I don't care what you're in, business, sport, anything. When you sit in from the position you sit in as the CEO on top of the profession, when you see that you're missing something, what is your responsibility? If your team is missing something, is it to call shots as they see them, spade, like I am missing this and I have to go get this?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting in a team. I always use the analogy. So, and I'll say, like, I went to the University of Akron. Mm-hmm. When I first came in to be as a freshman, there were 6 quarterbacks. That just happens. You're sitting at a quarterback meeting, and there's 6 of you. And so we had a senior quarterback, and the coach wasn't like, hey, that guy's our quarterback. The 5 of you guys, you're not going to play. It just isn't going to happen that way. So it's the responsibility of like either the team captains and the coaches to put the best players on the field. And so it's a weird dynamic sometimes in sports or on teams that you have to hold each other accountable. If we're the offensive line, let's say we're the Browns offensive line, and you've been playing, you're the left guard, you've been playing for years, you're an all-pro, but like you're just not doing your job. It's the responsibility of the coaches to put the best players on the field. And so that's a hard dynamic sometimes on teams. Even you guys were talking about Tom Brady before. I mean, he's the best, but like if he's not playing well, it's the responsibility of the coach to be able to replace him, no matter who he is or what he's done, in his life. It's a responsibility to do that. And I think every player, this happens. It happens in business, where you have to replace people. Anyway. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
No, sometimes tough decisions have to be made. You can't be afraid to make them.
Have to be made, and you have to make them
for the betterment of the team.
For the benefit of the team,
right?
And it's not fair to me if I'm a player if I or the coaches allow just you to not bring it every day. And so even though we're all friends and everything else, it's the responsibility. It's for the betterment of the team.
Everybody has to be accountable.
What made you? You're a business guy. You could have put your resources in a number of places. What made you put those resources with the Guardians?
Well, because we had the opportunity to. When David Blitzer was putting a team together or putting a group together, they had asked us. We've been involved, for the last 4 years with the Guardians. We feel like we've been great partners with the Dolans. We've done the Give-a-thon every year.
Which has raised a boatload of money.
Yeah, we've raised over $1 million now, for these kids, to play baseball and softball here in Cleveland. And so just our ability to do that, or our passion to be able to give back to the community and to really help the Guardians, we've met all the PR people and all the marketing people, and so again through the philanthropy, and so Paul Dolan, they wanted us to be part of the group and part of the ownership group. One, because we're we have the resources and we love Cleveland, but we're here in Cleveland. We're a Northeast
What has
Ohio
it been
company.
like for you so far? I know it's early on, but
Well, it's been amazing. I mean, ever since we got involved, the team's been phenomenal.
it's the Kaulig factor. I'm telling you,
us,
it's the
but,
Kaulig factor.
I don't know. It might be.
Everything
There
this
could be
guy
something
touches
to it.
turns to gold. You were born under the right star, Matt.
I don't know.
I'm telling you.
Something's going on. But
Any interest in owning the Browns?
yeah. I mean,
There it is.
We just solved all the problems.
no, I didn't say that. You said that. But of course, would you have interest in owning the Browns?
Between all of us, I think we took past the hat. We came up with $1,142. So we're a little short. But if you want to kick in the rest, we're in.
The Haslams. I'm not trying to own the Browns, but it would be fun to be. It would obviously be fun to be part, just like the Cavs, just like the Guardians. It's just fun
Did you
to be
grow up?
part
I mean,
of.
I know you grew up in Cincinnati and then
Cincinnati, yeah.
Chicago. When did you cross the threshold into joining this universe of pain, rooting for Cleveland sports teams?
It's I think just as soon as I moved here, so
Really?
moved here in '91, came to the University of Akron, and so I've been here literally since '91.
And you immersed yourself in the Cavs, Browns, Indians right away.
Like right away.
Yeah.
But I always said,
We're sorry.
and I mean no disrespect to the Browns, but they've made it really hard to be a
What
Browns
you
fan.
mean?
Right?
Of course.
But I've always been. I've been like. Now, growing up in Cincinnati, it was like that was the rivalry. I mean,
Sure.
big rivalry. It was you hated Cleveland.
Boomer and
Cleveland
Bernie.
hated Cincinnati. So living up here and then even going to the Browns game, I gradually, slowly,
the pendulum
moved towards
slowly swung.
the Browns.
Well, welcome to the dark side.
So, but it's there's definitely ups and downs, and you do get excited. I'm excited about them this year. I mean, we're only
Still?
Yeah, we're only 4 games in.
Yeah.
And
We're in first place.
2-2. We're in first place. But we do this every year, right? You get excited, and then it's just it makes it hard. But
So since you-
I am optimistic that it's going to be a great season.
Matt, since you
and we're
said
gonna get
that,
through.
right? Since you said
Get
that,
him in
you
here.
keep your eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
What are they missing?
The Browns?
Yes.
I don't know. I actually I don't know. I think even watching them on Sunday, and I didn't get to watch the Atlanta game. We were racing.
Okay.
But
You want me to tell you what they're missing?
It's you tell us.
They're missing culture, they're missing structure, stability, and a foundation.
Well,
That's what they're
Well,
missing.
you shouldn't
Yeah.
have been in the league then. What are you talking about?
But that's
Those are all the-
you
those are
know
the
better than
foundations of
and that's like
anybody.
saying I'd be a great athlete if I was faster, stronger, and
No,
taller.
but this is the part of ownership. This is where everyone asks what's the part of ownership. Yeah, you have to spend money, yes, but you have to have core values and structure and stability. That's what aggravates me about the whole conversation with the Dolans is they have all of that. The one
do.
component they don't have is the spending component,
the money.
and it's really important.
Right.
You have to spend. It's really, really, really important.
Yeah.
But you also need all the other stuff.
Right.
And that's what the Cavs for years did not have.
Yeah.
But
that's
that-
what the Browns
but-
have never
but-
had.
but here-
That's what's
here,
missing.
I don't care. You can go back to the Guardians, the Indians. That component comes from the top, but it really is implemented by the coaching staff, right?
Well, yeah, but to your point, if you got the wrong
Hargrove.
coach in there and it's a rotating door and it's always
But I'm
the
saying,
wrong
but when
coach,
you have the right coach in there, Hargrove.
ownership has
Tito.
to make the right decisions.
right.
They have to empower the right general
That's
manager,
exactly it.
the right
That's
head
exactly
coach.
it. Put
and
the right people in the way.
That's exactly
put
what the
right people in
Dolans have
position,
done.
And get the hell out of the way.
Right.
Well, and the executives and everybody at the organization has stayed and has wanted to stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
Mike Chernoff turned down his hometown team to stay here.
I can't believe Chris is still here.
I know.
I can't. I mean, they correct me if I'm wrong. As I talk to people in other organizations, this franchise, the Guardians, are the envy of Major League Baseball because they're not spending money. They're 28th in payroll.
I keep saying it. I'm telling you, John Sherman just fired everybody in Kansas City.
Yes.
Wait and
You
see
said
how
that
many
last
people.
week.
Wait and see how many people Kansas City plucks from Cleveland. He
Well, they're
knows
going
it
to
better than
try.
anyone.
I hope he doesn't. But yes, I mean, he knows that what's missing. He's been in Kansas City a couple of years. What's missing? Well, the people behind the scenes that you don't see, the people that are making scouting decisions and that are in player development. The Guardians infrastructure, if you could put that infrastructure with the Browns and with the Cavs, we'd have 3 winning teams here consistently.
Put Dan Gilbert's spending ability with the Dolan's weight of running a franchise, you'd be a top 3 team every single year.
Yeah.
Every single year. You'd be championship
hard
contender.
to
do. you would be the Yankees.
Yeah.
You would be a championship contender every year.
Because it isn't that easy. And so the Yankees, I don't know if every year they are a championship team, even though they have all the resources. But like you said, it's the cultural thing. Like the New England Patriots were for a couple decades. They just win. They rinse and repeat. They just win. They have a winning culture. And so it's good that we get to talk about the Guardians that way. It doesn't seem like it's always been that way, but what have we won 90 games the last five times?
Well, third most wins in
Bobby DiBiasio was in Monday. He told us that over the last 10 years, no team in the American League has won as many games as the Indians Guardians, and they are 4th out of 30 in that span. And if you look at their payroll, they will be consistently. Now, they did have a stretch there in 16, 17 where they did spend some money, but this year they're 28th. And somehow, some way you look up, they win 92 games. And here they are hosting a wild card series. And
17 guys made their major league debut this year. I said it Monday. That's a recipe for a 100-loss season.
It is.
And
typically, that's the Detroit Tigers this year.
And they're hosting a playoff game tomorro'n afternoon.
And then we'll host another one Saturday, and if needed, Sunday.
Let me ask you this question. This is off the beaten path a little bit. You're an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
When we started this show, we were a startup. This guy right here, Steve, called me. I was working a corporate job. He said, "Hey, you want to do some TV stuff?" I said, "Sure." I said, I thought he was joking. I hung up.
He did. He thought, buddy playing a prank on him.
Hung up. Whatever, dog. Like, I was on YouTube, whatever.
It's Jake Taylor in the Mexican League with
then
the
he hit
sombrero
me back, right? He calls me back, and I'm saying, "Oh, cool." I meet this guy. He drives from Texas, and then we see Jay. I'm like, "Oh, I think this might be real." I know he has a real job. So, at some point, this is a thing that you start from the ground up. When you're an entrepreneur like yourself, you get out of college. What makes you want to start a business in your basement? How did that come about?
I've always been intrigued with even getting better. So, if it was on a little league team, it's like I wanted to play. I think we all feel that way. Like, you teach your kids from a young age, like be the best you can be. But but that's the analogy that I use. That I wanted to be, I wanted to be a starter. I wanted to play. And then once you're a starter, then it's like, hey, there's an all-star team that you can make. I want to be on the all-star team.
Right.
And so I want to do that. So even when I started, I went to the University of Akron. Like you said, you're sitting in a quarterback meeting, and there's 6 of you. Yeah. Well, I want to play. So what do I have to do to be the starter?
Right.
Because only one person's going to be the starter. And then what do I need to do to not only start, but let's win some games. So the winning part of the game was hard to figure out. But we did win the toilet bowl.
Yeah, at least you got that.
And but then same thing in business. I started my very first job out of business school out of Akron was working for a remodeling company. So we sold windows and siding and kitchens and baths and all that stuff. And so, started to, and then try to figure out how to be the manager. Well, shit, the sales manager makes more money than the salesman. So how do I get his job?
Right.
And so it becomes that. So then become a sales manager, and then how do you move up in the company? I mean, it's the same thing on sports teams as it is in business. How do you do?
The competitive ones typically are the ones that climb to the top.
That's right.
They want more. They want to better themselves.
And then it's like, all right, well, I think I could do this myself. It was the same thing I said about NASCAR, right? It's like, I think I could do this better myself. So I literally, after 8 years at a company, literally quit my job and started working out of my house, selling gutter screens. So, I did. I told my wife, I said, I think I can make more money just selling gutter screens out of my house.
Now that's a huge leap of faith.
How'd that conversation go?
So I think she believed me. So
I think it's worked out okay for you.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
How did that come? How did they do? I've wondered. I've never asked you this, but I've wanted to. Like, what was the epiphany moment where you're like, "Holy crap!
Well,
I can keep everything out of the gutter, and I can make it and install it." How did that come about?
Well, I just started as a dealer. So like I said, I was in the remodeling industry and came across this product called Leaf Filter. And it's a surgical grade stainless steel screen that literally keeps everything out of the gutters. So I was like, it's like magic where nothing sticks to it and it just it keeps everything out. So I could sell this. If you have a house and you have trees, I mean, it looks easy. It's easy to sell. And so, I mean, it doesn't sell itself, but like if there was ever a product, I was like, I can make money doing this. So, so then I did. And so I knew, again, I worked for 8 years. So I was 31 years old. And
but you collected a lot of lessons along the way.
That's right. So then, I had a marketing person and I had one installer, and then I sold all the jobs. So I went to I sold all our jobs in 2005, and then started growing the company.
That's crazy.
In
He
2006.
just showed up.
And then I started opening offices.
Okay.
So then I opened a Pittsburgh office, Columbus office, Toledo office. I could drive there every day if I needed to. So then I had 4 offices, and then the next year I had 3 more offices, and so have just grown, since then. So again, now took over the manufacturing of Leaf Filter. This is several years ago, but bought the patent. I just figured out how to grow and how to take over.
Where you manufacturing?
Incredible.
Where you manufacturing?
Manufacturing in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and
Midwest.
in Louisville, Kentucky.
What's crazy is, mother is the necessity of invention. I didn't even know that these things existed. I lived in Tampa, Florida, and I had oak trees all around my house, and I was constantly cleaning my gutters, constantly. When I moved here, I back to the woods, and I had, I just was looking at I'm the guy that's standing out, looking out my window going, what the hell am I going to do with all these leaves?
Right.
And it was a new house, and, water is the enemy. Water kills everything.
Yeah.
And so I said, I need these things. So I called Matt up. I go, hey, I've never had these, but I think I need them. He's like, yeah, I'll have my guys come out. They came out. They did an unbelievable job. Now, I love this. I look at my neighbors cleaning out their gutters, and I tell them all the time, I'm like, guys, I know a guy. And one of them actually is going to do it this fall. It's incredible. It's the biggest time saver and I know that this wasn't intended to be a commercial.
This is a great Leaf Filter commercial.
I didn't intend it to be a commercial, but I can tell you that there's a couple of times where I've used a product where I'm like, oh my God, I love this product. Like, I believe in this product so much, it works. It does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Leaf Filter is that product. It's unbelievable how I don't know what the science is, they fall on my roof, and they don't stick, and they come right down, and they never clog up my gutters, and it's like the greatest thing ever.
It's unbelievable. And those leaves would be in your gutters if you didn't have them.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and they cause backups, and that causes problems with the structure of the house.
but even bringing back what we were just talking about to sports and building a team, it is about culture. I mean, I built a culture at Leaf Filter. We have 150 offices in the U.S. and Canada now, and it started out of my house. So it becomes like just convincing people that are your employees and your salespeople that it is the greatest product in the history of products.
It sells itself.
I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
but so then it's growing offices in different cities and convincing those people that it's the greatest thing. And so selling is just a transference of feelings. If I can make you feel about my product like I feel about it, then we're going to win. Like, you're pretty passionate about Leaf Filter. I don't know whether you're really that passionate or
I am. No, listen, I love it.
But
my wife used to yell at me. I was the guy that would put the gutter, the ladder, and I had the extension ladder, 24 feet. I'm on the upstairs cleaning out, and my wife would stand at the bottom saying, "Is your life insurance paid up?"
Yeah.
Like, she used to hate that I would do that, but I was trying to take care of my house, and I know the damage that can cause. And now, literally, when I'm watching my neighbors do it, I get an internal chuckle. I'm like, I know something that they don't know. Yeah. It's great. Yeah.
But
it
in
really
sports
is.
And in teams, it is building that winning culture, and even amongst the teammates that they really care. You know, I've been on teams or even sports, even at, even back at the University of Akron back then in the early 90s, where we had some tough luck. I mean, we were 2-9 one year. We were 1-10.
Yeah,
and so I'm telling you, we had players on the team that really didn't care.
Right.
You know, you'd show up to the weight room
Yeah.
and they would just they
going
wouldn't
through the
they didn't
motions.
care.
Apathy is the enemy.
And you're like, this is how can the coaches even put up with it?
Right.
It doesn't make
Right.
sense, but they did.
Yeah.
And so so then you lose, and you have a losing culture, and you know.
Well, I'll be over there Saturday. I'm going to try to get over there for a couple innings tomorrow. We're doing the show from
Good.
11 to 1, and I know
Yep.
the game starts at noon. I know you'll be. Are you going to
I'll be there. Yep, I'll be there tomorrow.
Very
Yeah,
good.
I'm super excited.
Enjoy the games. Congratulations on Leaf Filter, on being Matt Kaulig, on owning NASCAR teams, on being Matt Kaulig, and on
that
owning
ring.
the Guardians, and on one day owning the Browns.
And them donuts was fire.
Yeah, they were very good. Matt, it's great to see you. It is great to see
guys.
you.
Awesome to be here.
Yeah.
Love the show. You
Keep
guys are rock
watching.
stars.
Keep
Thank you,
watching
thank
it.
you, thank you.
Matt Kaulig on the Ultimate
All right.
Cleveland Sports Show. We're going to take a quick break. We're back in 2 minutes.